Welcome to Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. I am so excited to have these two guests on my show today. State Representative Antonio Touche Parkinson is in the studio. We're going to be talking about what's going on in Nashville and what he would like to abolish. I think he wants to abolish the ASD. We're going to ask him why right here on Dialogue with Deidre. Then we have Ken Taylor, young man. If you don't know him, you will. The Kingmaker. We're going to talk about politics, talk about what the Kingmaker wants to do. Let's talk about federal, state, local politics with the Kingmaker. So glad to have him on the show. You know, you can always reach out to me via Facebook at the Dialogue with Deidre Facebook page, on Twitter at Deidre Malone, or just reach out to me via email to let me know what you think about our show. We have interesting topics and great guests. You're watching Dialogue with Deidre. We'll be back in a moment.
The Taylor Brown Apothecary is your community drugstore. Their licensed professional pharmacists provide excellent service while filling your wellness needs. They have $4 generic plans and they accept all major insurance providers. And they even offer free delivery for senior citizens. At Taylor Brown, they pride themselves on the personal care and attention they give every customer. Ask about their uninsured discount pharmacy program. The Taylor Brown Apothecary is your community drugstore. They're located 3333 Shelby Drive. Give them a call today at 901-794-3690 or visit them online, TaylorBrownGroup.com. The Taylor Brown Apothecary is your community drugstore.
I like to ride my bike to get some exercise, just kind of clear my head.
I like to ride because it's really fun for me and my fiance to go ride together.
I started riding my bike as a way to save money on gas.
I like to ride my bike mostly because it's fun and it's good exercise.
That's how I get everywhere. It's how I go to grocery stores, it's go to work, it's how I go to my friend's house.
Sometimes I just like to not even have a particular destination in mind, just to see different parts of the city.
Just going through the park, you see people, and if you're on your bike, you can smile or say hello.
I own 5 bikes. The green Schwinn is my grandfather's bike, and every time I ride it, he can be with me where I go.
I'm not burning gas, I'm not polluting the air. And in a way, it kind of gets me back to the kid in me, which is kind of cool.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave.
Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
The Carter Malone Group is a full-service public relations agency. Celebrating 10 years of being in business, the Carter Malone Group is located in Midtown Memphis and represents clients across the country. No matter what size your business, if you are interested in promoting your product or service and increasing your market share, contact the firm that can help you meet your goals. The Carter Malone Group. Call 901-278-0881 today.
Welcome back to Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. I forgot to mention that if you don't have, if you're not following the Black Wall Street on Facebook, you need to. We need to support black businesses. Throughout the month of February, and we're starting now, throughout the month of February, we'll be giving away these fabulous t-shirts. I don't know if you can see this. We support black businesses because we want to build black wealth, right? It's important for us to, make sure that those services and products that we need, African American businesses, minority businesses in the community have those services and those products. And let's support black businesses. This is an African American network. I'm proud to say that we're a part of the M1 TV network, the M Network. And so we want to make sure that you know that there are qualified African American vendors, businesses out there, and we should support them. That's the way we're going to be able to build African American wealth in our neighborhoods. But before we get started, I just want to say that our guest today, great show before you. State Representative Antonio Parkinson is in the studio. Touche, Representative Parkinson, welcome to Dialogue with Deidre.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And congrats on your new acquisition and broadcasting live on there.
I'm loving it. I mean, I should know about all of this technology.
Right.
And I'm so excited to be on the network. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, viewers.
Shout out to all of Deidre's new Meerkat viewers.
Meerkat.
But I tell you, this technology, it changes daily.
It does.
And so, we just have to keep up. Everything's moving at the speed of light right now, and we have to move with it. So I'm happy to see you on. It's good.
Thank you so much for introducing me to it, and I want to introduce Mr. Ken Taylor, who's with us today, the Kingmaker.
Kingmaker, right.
Young blood in the studio.
Right, there you go. I love it.
We want to be able to talk to him about what's going on. We want to ask you those tough questions about what you're doing in Nashville, and then we want to talk about Kingmaker, see what he's doing. Okay.
Good stuff, man. Happy to have you on Deidre Malone Show on Dialogue. So
glad to have these great gentlemen in the studio. So, Representative Parkinson, making a lot of noise.
Right.
But you always make noise, though, in Nashville, trying to get things accomplished for the community.
Right.
Why do you want to see the Achievement School District abolished?
Well, because, there's no accountability there, right now. And, the Achievement School District was set up specifically to move the bottom 5% of schools out of the bottom 5%, and there was the spirit of the legislation, or the spirit of the goal, was to take the bottom 5% to the top 25% in 5 years, and that was a bit of a lofty goal, but we know with them being in year 4, going into year 4, that's not going to happen. We're not going to get any schools in the top 25%. We know that's not going to happen. We don't know if any schools are going to get out of the bottom 5%. And so, but right now, there's no accountability when it comes to the Achievement School District in the law that says that they even have to move the schools out of the bottom 5%. To be totally honest with you, right now, a school can be in the bottom 5% and be taken over by the Achievement School District and just basically spin around and spend in the bottom 5% in the achievement school district, because they can just replace charter operators. You know, if one operator is not working and not performing, they can just replace it with another charter operator. There's nothing holding them accountable for moving them out of the bottom 5%. And what's interesting is, you know, even before the appointment of the new Achievement School District Superintendent, Malika Anderson, who I'm very fond of, you know, even before her appointment, you know, all of the things that I'm saying in the media now, I said for over a year to everybody involved, even the governor. You know, that, you know, you know, we need to put some accountability measures in place, or, you know, because it looks like right now, it appears, and I know this ruffles their feathers when I say it, but it appears that they're wholesaling kids to these out-of-state charter operators. And I will qualify it again, you know, for all of our listeners and viewers, you know, if you're not focusing on the bottom of the bottom 5% where the need is the most, and you're jumping around to the top of the bottom 5%, or schools that are about to roll off, and allowing these charter operators to come in and take over those schools that are already on a trajectory to move themselves forward, then it's not about education anymore, and it's about money.
So, Representative, just for full transparency, my firm, the Cardinal Malone Group, at some point early on represented the Achievement School District, and we do represent Aspire Public Schools at this time. The Cardinal Malone Group does. But I say that to say this. So, 4 years into it, there has been some academic movement, positive academic movement. And so if you look at Shelby County schools in total, I mean, it took a long time for them to get where they have all those schools in the bottom 5%. So are we rushing to judgment by, you know, only 4 years into it?
Right. You said you would ask the hard questions, but I heard them all before. So it's not so hard.
Okay.
No, we're not, because just as you have an achievement school district that started in existence in four years ago, you also have an iZone that started in existence 4 years ago. They started at the same time, and the iZone is outperforming the achievement school district. Now, we know that's factual. That's factual. And here's the challenge. You know, if you're charged with moving schools, you are the state entity charged with moving schools out of the bottom 5%. You need to be moving schools out of the bottom 5%. Now, and that's no question about that.
Right.
And right now, you cannot factually say that you've moved schools out of the bottom 5%. So what are we going to do? Are we going to keep on bringing schools in to the bottom 5% with the Achievement School District and letting them just marinate with the Achievement School District in the bottom 5%, or are we going to move the schools with what you're charged to do? Now, and if you cannot do that, and you don't have any accountability measures in place to ensure that you do that, we can't keep letting you just eat up schools like Pac-Man, and then you just sit them in the belly of the beast and just let them just sit there.
So,
you have to move the schools off the list.
When you mention accountability, what do you mean in terms of, I mean, it's a state-created school system.
Right.
So the level of accountability, does that not lie with the state?
Absolutely, it lies with the state.
Okay.
It lies with the state. The Achievement School District is the state.
Right.
So yes, it lies with the state. It lies with the state entity. It lies with the parents. It lies with everybody involved in education. It lies with Shelby County Schools. It lies with the iZone. But in regards to the Achievement School District, you are aggressively going out here and taking it on these schools and taking them in and snatching them, but you're not moving them. So and think about this. I just want every viewer to think about this. What would mute my conversation or my passion against the Achievement School District? If they were moving schools off the bottom 5%, there would be nothing I could say, because their performance would say it all. But if you're trying to take on 4 more schools this year, for next year, 4 more schools. You already have 29 right now, 27 of which are in Shelby County. That's a whole nother issue that we should dialogue about it with Deidre. But 29 schools, and you can't definitively tell me that you've moved any of these schools, these 29, off the bottom of not to the top 25%. We know that's not going to happen, but even out of the bottom 5%. So what are our children to do? Go from one system that has failed them to another system that's failing them? That's crazy. That's ludicrous. When you have a model in the iZone that's actually performing. Now, as stewards, as an elected steward that is elected to be a steward over taxpayer dollars, how do I go to taxpayer? In fact, I'll ask you, how do I go to you or to the Kingmaker who pays taxes in the state of Tennessee and say we're going to continue to drop $93 million into a policy that is not performing when we have a policy that is performing in the iZone model that we're not putting $93 million into? How do I go to you and say, we're going to continue, hey, you know what, you work hard for the money, but we're going to take your taxpayer dollars, we're going to continue to drop your taxpayer dollars into this policy that to this date has not done what it's supposed to do?
I think the Kingmaker would have some questions.
Right.
I mean, obviously, so it's very difficult for me because I got into politics because I wanted to change education from a policy standpoint.
Right.
And so I previously was in Seattle, Washington. We kind of, Seattle has its own set of challenges. Was there when we implemented charter schools and things of that nature. And so although I'm relatively new to Memphis education issues, just kind of looking at it from an outsider's point of view, definitely respect you for everything that you've done as it relates to taking on this issue. But just in reading it and, an outside, lookers in, I guess some of the things or the questions that I have is, I definitely see iZone. iZone's done some great things. I think that ASD has done some great things as well as it relates to, they may not be performing at the level I think everybody wants to, or even they would want to. I mean, sure they would love to be on the top. To have all of their students in the top 25% now versus
that would be great.
They were absolutely
that would be awesome.
But I guess my question with that is as it relates to the different models that between ASD has and then the model that iZone has, two completely different models. But I have to be honest with you, I question whether or not the iZone's whether their model is sustainable. The model where they take the top performing principals and put them in the lower performing schools, but it would seem to me that at that point those schools are going to have some challenges as it relates to maintaining the standards that they were able to have under those principles.
Right.
So is that sustainable? Because to me, as the Kingmaker who pays his taxes, I'm definitely going to want to make sure that money that goes into those schools are going into a program that is sustainable.
Oh, that's absolutely a valid question. But again, heard them all before. Right. Here's the thing. It's not sustainable at this point, but it is a working model. So why would you not shift resources from the model that's not working into the model that is working and make it sustainable?
Right. Well, I think for me as a person who I'm more about, I love to get. I hate to wait. Very, very impulsive. But I think a lot of times when we're doing these, the danger in shifting resources before it's proven to, before if it's proven to work, means that you may possibly have something that may be on the path of the change that you want it to have, but you pull resources from that and put it to somewhere else. I think for one of the things for me that, like I said,
let me just, if you don't mind, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I just want to just jump in where you said there's something that's on the path to working. Just two small responses to that. I don't know if we have, these are children's lives we're talking about. Especially when you have a state that has a contract with the penal system. We got a contract with these the penal industry to keep these beds at 90% capacity.
Absolutely.
And so I don't know if we have the luxury of waiting to see if something is going to work when we have something that is working right now.
I would. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I would just, so I think, so if I'm correct, it sounds as though the argument is that funds are scarce. You have one that you believe is proven working, and another that is not working at the level of which you believe it should be moving as quickly as they stated they would, or that it should.
Well, here it is. First of all, there was an urgency, right, to create an ASD.
Well, yeah.
because schools were failing.
Right.
There should be that same urgency to hold the ASD accountable to move these schools as they're charged to do.
Absolutely. I guess what I'm saying is when you look at both districts and you look at them side by side, neither one of them have reached the promised land or can say that they have a model.
Exactly.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I mean, ASD has done some amazing things. They took, I think it was from 16 to 20 to 26% as it relates to from where they were. I have to get the exact figures, but they, as it relates to proficiency, have moved children, where they should be. Not where they should be, but move forward.
Let's qualify that.
But I guess that
only in the schools, in some of the schools that they directly run.
Right.
Only.
Right, but
Okay,
but we
right.
have seen change in proficiency for the better, right? So when you look at this, I mean, just looking at it before ASD came in, ASD has, even in the smallest levels, has created positive change in the lives of several students that Shelby County would not have been able to do without the ASD.
Well,
and created competition.
I would not.
Listen to this point. So the point I'm trying to get to is, so from what I'm hearing is, it's a refund. You want that money to go into iZone, right? Well, you've got about $500 million in access that are out there right now in the state of Tennessee. A lot of states can't say that.
We agree.
So I guess my question is, why fight the ASD versus fighting for the money and bringing that money into the iZone?
Why not fight for both? Now, excellent
point.
And watch this to the King man. And I love the Kingmaker already. I love the Kingmaker. Deidre, thank you for bringing it. But we need the man. This is exactly what we need. Talent like him. And I'm not just stroking you. I mean that, man. I love the way you think. Now, yes, we should be fighting. Number one, the state should think about what's happening here and look at the broad picture. The state, first of all, is breaking the law. Does not fully fund the BEP.
Does not. Been talking about that for years, right?
When the state breaks the law. Okay, so the state is not fully funding the BEP. So first of all, you have not fully funded the BEP, period, and you wonder why schools are failing.
Right.
Before the ASD.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, but then you set us up for failure. Mm-hmm. You know, we have different needs. Let me qualify that. Mm-hmm. Shelby County, we have different needs than any other county, not just in the state of Tennessee, but in the region. Our needs are different and specific. Now, so you don't fund education, and then when education fails, you send in a patch fix in the Achievement School District to fix it, which takes more money out of the education system. Think about what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So now you created this patch fix that's actually created a deeper hole, a gaping wound, to pour more resources out from the thing you were trying to fix that you didn't fund.
No, I think that's the voucher.
Well, we're gonna go.
That's what's gonna take money out.
Not just the voucher, but think about what I'm saying. So the Achievement School District, and keep in mind, I'm gonna give y'all my history on the Achievement School District because I hadn't always been on this side.
Yeah,
I was the number one. No, I wasn't there to vote for it. I didn't get there till after. But you got the Achievement School District.
Though.
I was their number one cheerleader when Chris first got on the ground. Mm-hmm. But let me finish this. You got the Achievement School District that takes money out of the district, and now watch how when I say they take money out of the district, they bring these out-of-state charter operators in here. And keep in mind, let me qualify again, I am not anti-charter. Okay. My daughter goes to a charter school. Okay. So that would disqualify me from being a charter hater. I'm not a charter hater. I'm a charter lover if it's a good charter.
So you had a choice to choose.
I'm pro-choice. Let me qualify that. Thanks for mentioning that. I was one. Look, I did not plant these questions. Look. So to the Kingmaker,
he didn't even know the Kingmaker was going to be here.
So let's talk about choice and I am too. Let's talk about choice and options. I voted for the municipalities to be able to have their own school district because I believe in my heart, with every cell in my body, that parents have the right to decide how their children are educated. It gets no more pro-choice than that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I, as a parent, I prefer Raleigh schools. My daughter goes to a charter in Raleigh, a good one, Star Academy. Okay. So don't be stalking my daughter for all you crazies out there.
Right, exactly.
Right. So they can't say I'm anti-choice and anti-charter, but it has to be quality choices. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? You can't come in here and throw anything over here and think I'm going to accept it and hide under the banner of pro-choice or options. And you can't say, we're all about educational options when the majority of the people that you're serving don't even have the resources to even make a choice in an option. Mm-hmm. So if the people that you're serving and you're putting these new schools or these new charter operators in place and saying, hey, this is all about school choice, if you don't have the resources to move your children to another choice, then it's not school choice, it's school force.
Well, again, I'm very not as informed as it relates to Memphis schools, but if you have Memphis charters, but it's all about acceptance, right? So if one student lives on one side of the city and the school is on the other, if they get accepted into that school, they can attend that school.
They got to be able to transport you got to understand Memphis now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think neighborhood, like Aspire is a neighborhood school.
But Aspire, Deidre, do we really want to go there? Yes, they are neighborhood schools, and they are supposed to take every child assigned
to their neighborhood.
School. But we know Do we really want to?
We're going to talk about the achievement school district.
Okay, all right.
And then we're going to talk about Aspire next one.
I mean,
We're going to talk about
the opportunity. I don't want to say his name on the air or whatever, but I mean, when you look at Gestalt, and you look at KIPP, those schools. I mean, they seem to be doing very well, right?
Are they achievement school district schools?
Yeah, some of them are.
KIPP?
I mean, well.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, KIPP was at the original.
I thought KIPP is in under SES.
I know Freedom Prep is.
And Gestalt is too, because Humes is under the
SES.
Humes is under the ASD,
And when you
and it's
say
a Gestalt
doing good,
school.
what do you say? Are they out of the bottom 5%?
Well, I mean, I don't have that.
That's our measurement. That's how we measure doing good.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, this is true. But I mean, even as it relates to the model, I use them because you use the charter, examples. But I think that I guess my point in what I'm trying to say with this is, I have a cousin, and I love my cousin, and my cousin is one of the smartest people that I know.
Right.
But when it comes to projects and things of that nature, when I call him for advice, I don't really call him anymore because his advice is whatever I am, how far I've gone through the process, to just throw it all out and start again if it's not exactly where I want it to be. And so I think when you're talking about ASD, when you're talking about iZone and those, I just don't think that we're there yet. We say 4 years. It's really the third year going into the fourth year.
Right, that's correct.
It's about just a little bit over the halfway marker. So I just don't think that we're necessarily there yet to say that they are not performing at the level of which they said that they would or they should be, to just throw them out and then pour all this other money into this other entity that is not necessarily just been proven. They're making some successes, but they aren't necessarily a proven model yet either. And it's not been proven that they're sustainable.
Well, at this rate, the ASD is not sustainable, to be totally honest with you. But let me ask you this, and I qualify that. But let me ask you this though. So and I respect and appreciate your opinion. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But let me ask you this though. But shouldn't there be some accountability on the part of the achievement school district, saying, "Hey, look, you can't just keep on gobbling up schools like Pac-Man and not moving them off the bottom 5%." So what are you going to do? Take in 85 schools and then eventually one of them move or two of them move off the bottom 5%? No. I guess there should be some accountability that says you have to move this amount of schools off this list before you take on any more schools, because other than that, you're just taking in schools.
I absolutely agree. I think that you don't want to
Wait a minute, say that one more time.
I agree with that. That you definitely need.
One more time.
You need accountability. You need accountability in any model.
Thank you.
The people who, I pay a service to mow my grass. There's accountability there, right? But at the same time, with that accountability, one, if I'm in a position to where I am in a level of authority and it's my job to manage that, which I would assume it would be as a state representative, I guess my question is, being at the point of where we are now, why not give them their 5 years and in the meantime legislate accountability, pass bills that would actually have that, and go after that additional money that is there, and then fund both, and then at the end of those 5 years,
sounds like a plan.
Hey, guess what?
I'll help you write it.
It's already written.
It's done.
It's already written. Trust me.
Okay.
See, let me tell you something. So, yes, there is the kill bill to kill the achievement school district, but there's also legislation out there that's been drafted by some very smart individual that says, stand down, no new schools for 3 years until you move 50% of your schools off the bottom 5%. You see what I'm saying? And then you can start taking in more schools. But you cannot keep on gobbling up schools and not being accountable for getting them off that doggone list. That's what you're here for. That is what you are here for. That's your only job.
Is iZone meeting those?
iZone is moving schools.
Are they meeting those? Are they have to?
iZone don't take in get as many schools as the achievement school district. No, they don't.
Not as many.
No, they don't. Not even. No, they don't.
So how many students does iZone serve?
iZone only has 17 schools. ASD has 29 and trying to take 4 more.
I mean, as it relates to students, though.
I can't tell you what the numbers are.
Okay.
Because
that's
way beyond.
And let's just be fair. Even though iZone is a new program,
started at the same time as ASD.
Yeah, but it's still associated with Shelby County schools. And the ASD is from the bottom up. It just started. Was just created.
Okay, so was iZone at the same exact time. They started at the same.
But it still has that support of Shelby County schools.
The ASD has the support of the state. Who gets more money than the state? Now, so nice try, Deidre, but you almost got there. Oh, you almost had it. But you know, they started at the same time, and Eyes On. And I didn't just say that. I've been saying it, but Vandy came out and said it too. That the Eyes On is kicking the crap out of the Achievement School District, and that.
But he also came back. Now I read that. I'm a reader.
Right.
But the person who wrote that story also came back and said that there was not an indication that it should be closed.
He did say that, but they didn't say that they shouldn't be accountable. Why are they taking it? Why are they taking in more?
I think you're fighting a losing battle with that. No one is saying
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Or beating a dead horse. No one is saying that schools shouldn't be accountable. Now,
everybody. The ASD.
Do some research. I don't think that there's absolutely no accountability measures. I just find that hard.
Well, you know,
especially the Department of Education.
Right. I mean, I find that very.
We're going to continue this dialogue. And we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to continue this dialogue. You watch a dialogue with Deidre.
The Taylor Brown Apothecary is your community drugstore. Their licensed professional pharmacists provide excellent service while filling your wellness needs. They have $4 generic plans, and they accept all major insurance providers. And they even offer free delivery for senior citizens. At Taylor Brown, they pride themselves on the personal care and attention they give every customer. Ask about their uninsured discount pharmacy program. The Taylor Brown Apothecary is your community drugstore. They're located 3333 Shelby Drive. Give them a call today at 901-794-3690 or visit them online, TaylorBrownGroup.com. The Taylor Brown Apothecary is your community drugstore.
I like to ride my bike to get some exercise, just kind of clear my head.
I like to ride because it's really fun for me and my fiance to go ride together.
I started riding my bike as a way to save money on gas.
I like to ride my bike mostly because it's fun and it's good exercise.
That's how I get everywhere. It's how I go to grocery stores, it's go to work, it's how I go to my friend's house.
Sometimes I just like to not even have a particular destination in mind, just to see different parts of the city.
Just going through the park, you see people, and if you're on your bike, you can smile or say hello.
I own 5 bikes. The green Schwinn is my grandfather's bike, and every time I ride it, and he can be with me where I go.
I'm not burning gas, I'm not polluting the air. And in a way, it kind of gets me back to the kid in me, which is kind of cool.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
The Carter Malone Group is a full-service public relations agency. Celebrating 10 years of being in business, the Carter Malone Group is located in Midtown Memphis and represents clients across the country. No matter what size your business, if you are interested in promoting your product or service and increasing your market share, contact the firm that can help you meet your goals. The Carter Malone Group. Call 901-278-0881 today.
Welcome back to Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. State Representative Antonio Parkinson is still with us today. He needs to be on his way to Nashville, but he's enjoying this dialogue so much he's going to stay the full hour. And then Ken Taylor, the Kingmaker, young, bright mind, is in the studio with us. Welcome back to Dialogue with Deidre.
Hey, I'm glad to be back. It's going to be one of Deidre's highest rated shows.
I believe.
Right.
So when we before we went to break, we started talking about the ASD, and what are your final thoughts on the ASD?
Here's
Because then I want to talk about vouchers before you get out here.
You know, a self-imposed moratorium, which everybody in Shelby County is asking for. The school board has asked for it. There are some other entities that are going to come out and ask for it. And there's another entity, one of our biggest entities in Shelby County, in the region rather, that I think may come out publicly and ask them to stand down also. And I can't say who it is because I don't want to speak and say anything for them publicly, but I had a great meeting with one of our biggest institutions in Shelby County that may come out and publicly say something, about, the Achievement School District, just, imposing a moratorium on themselves. I wouldn't even be here with the legislation, the kill bill, if they had just went on and just stand down. Hold on for a second. Stand down and let's get those schools that you have in your catalog in the right posture so I can be your cheerleader versus your adversary. I want to be that. I was that at one time. When their focus was on the schools in the bottom 5% that were at the bottom of it. You remember when they came in and they took over the school? Chris Barber came in to me and he said, hey, Touche, look, Corning Elementary, I think it was Frazier Elementary, and it may have been Whitney and one other school, was the worst schools in the state. The worst. I said, the worst schools in the state? He said, yes, these are the schools that are resting at the bottom of the bottom 5%. And we're going to come in and we're going to direct run these schools, and we're going to turn these schools around. Hey, man, I'm with you. I'm all the way in. I went in, opened up doors for them to community stakeholders, introduced them, told them, hey, man, this is great. This is a good idea. I'm all the way in with you, all the way. But then when he got away from those schools, focusing on them schools with the most need, and he started jumping around on the list, jumping up here at the top of the bottom 5% with schools that had interventions from Shelby County, not necessarily eyes-on interventions, but they had interventions, and they were about to roll off anywhere or possibly roll off. Now we got an issue because it's not about education no more, because now it appears to be about dollars for these charter operators that are looking for schools with capacity, the number of students in there, and schools that are closer to the top of the list where it's not such a hard task at turning those schools around.
To move the numbers.
Right. And then you had situations, and I'm not going to name any charter operators, but you had situations where, one operator was given a school and had zero data, never had a school before. He may have worked in the school as a middle school teacher, but he never had any data, and you gave this guy a school and our children, or this individual, I shouldn't have said that, a school and our children. So it looks like it's experimental. Then you had those entities that came in and were given a school, and they had no data in Shelby County. They were given a school. The school is still right now today a level 1 high school. and then you've matched them with another school to give them another school. They hadn't moved the school that they have. Then you had another one. And I better stop right there.
Stop right there.
But you know, that's my point. So, but on your website it says we only bring in proven operators. You see what I'm saying? But if you don't have the data to back this up.
So, but they are proven probably in other states, and not here, right? Not yet.
And then when they have a school, even though you've given them a school, and they've proven that they cannot turn these schools around or even move them in the right trajectory, and you give them another school, I just can't. I can't roll with that. You know, I can't support that, because you know it would be one thing if you there are. Let me even say this. There are schools in Shelby County that are Shelby County operators that have proven. Excuse me, I feel like I'm spitting all over you.
No, you're not.
That have proven, my passion is flying. That have proven, you know, operations that have good schools, and they were denied applications with the Achievement School District. Now I can name them: Memphis Academy of Health Science, proven in Shelby County, denied application with ASD. Memphis Business Academy, proven in Shelby County, denied with the Achievement School District. But you go out here and you get these other schools from out of state, and you give them contracts. So if again, think about the history, my history with the Achievement School District. I was all the way in, sold out with you. But when you start getting away from the education and those schools that have the most needs that's resting at the bottom of the bottom 5%, you want to skip it now. We don't want to mess with those. No, man, we can't turn those. That's too hard of a turnaround. And it's not enough students for us. We proven from out of state charter operators to come in and take the school because it doesn't make financial sense. No, sir. Now my children have become a commodity to you. And the focus has gotten away from education. So yes, now I am your biggest adversary until you bring it back in. Stop taking in the schools until you get some of your schools. Whip your charter operators into place. Make them do what they're supposed to do. Because according to you, your direct run schools are moving the students, right? According to you, and that was kind of miraculous in itself too. After 2 years of nothing, then all of a sudden you jump these super double-digit gains. All of a sudden,
it happens.
It happens. Yeah, if you control the numbers and you're the state.
It happens.
Right.
It happens.
Yeah. But
that's a pretty powerful claim.
On their part, that is a powerful claim on their part that it jumped miraculously after the third year. But you know, we say, hey, these are great gains. What's the formula so we can duplicate it in the other
great
schools?
Principals, great teachers, great curriculum.
That's the same thing said.
Right.
Yeah. So is that what it is? If that's what it is, then we know what the formula is. Obviously, your charter operators are not duplicating that formula then whip them into shape and make your charter operators accountable to move these schools off the doggone list. Well, that's what it's about.
Rep, what we're going to do is we're going to follow you in the legislation. We're going to see what's going to happen.
You're going to support me in it too, right?
And I want you to come back and talk about whatever happens with it, right?
Right. But you know, for all of us, I know for a fact that all of us, even with your client, all of us, our goal should be and is, I hope it is, the children.
Exactly.
And if it's that, then there should be some accountability for everybody involved with our children, plain and simple. And that goes for the ASD and everyone. Shelby County schools, their accountability is the ASD. You know, move them or you're going to get them taken. Right? The ASD should have accountability also.
And the ASD does have, thanks to Google over the break, ASD actually does have some accountability.
I can't wait to hear this.
Accountability measures. So one, if they aren't at a 3 or above, they cannot continue to grow.
That's true.
Wait a minute, who is not a 3 or above?
The charter school.
The charter school. But guess what happens? They just replace them with another charter school.
Well, hold on now.
That's not accountability.
Hold on. You can't go from saying that there is no accountability. There's a difference between no accountability and not sufficient accountability.
Well, let me qualify that.
You said no accountability.
Let me qualify why I say no accountability.
Okay.
So you replace them with another charter another operator, just like your original strategy was, right? And they spend another 3 years. Then you replace them with another. That's not accountability. Accountability for the ASD, you have to move these schools.
So what's the accountability for iZone?
You have to move these schools.
I mean, if they don't,
they're going to the ASD.
Yeah, they move.
They go to the ASD. Yes, sir.
They're on that list, and they can come into the ASD.
And so there's nothing wrong with everybody having accountability.
Right. So exactly. So
and don't you think that there's a level of accountability in terms of, I mean, the ASD had the ability to take them all if they wanted. They could have. That's not realistic, but they could have. Under the state law, they could have said, I want 50 zillion operators to come in here, and I'm going to take over all of these schools on the bottom 5%. But they didn't do that. I'm
glad you said that, because the law says that the ASD may intervene. It didn't say they shall intervene. So let's be clear on that.
But it gives them the authority to.
It gives them the authority to, but we know realistically they're struggling in their budget right now.
Well, I was going to say realistic. Well, again, that goes back to the extra money that we have just sitting out there. That I'm really shocked that not one person has gone after to say, give us these money.
Well, we are. We are. Actually, we are.
Okay, I did not see that. When did that bill come up?
We're working on that now. We're working. Yeah. Well, through appropriations, through the second.
No, I get it.
The secondary budget. Right. Yeah. So we are working on that. We're working on full funding of the BEP.
I hope that happens. We've been talking about that forever.
I mean, really think about it. And then when you really think about it, we have, I think, 5 to $700 million in quote unquote a surplus. But we had a sizable amount of money that was surplus that they the majority voted to put in the rainy day fund. We're sitting on almost probably $500 million in rainy day fund. And now we got another 500 million at least that's in surplus. But they've never used that word surplus. Hey, extra money. You see what I'm saying? And they hide this money and put it in places that where it's not being used. And if you think about it, education is the key to our success as a state.
Right.
And again, I would love to see, I'm telling you now, and I'll go on record to all of you that are listening and tweeting and
looking right there.
Oh, okay, and here too, all of you that are listening and tweeting, I would love to be the biggest supporter of the Achievement School District. I would love to. And once I would love to come back. But we have to have accountability. You cannot just sit and let these schools marinate in the Achievement School District.
I think that right, and I understand.
And you said you agreed with that earlier.
No. I agree with accountability. Okay. We must have accountability. Right. But I guess where we differ is for me. I think when you have a district that is making gains. They may not be moving as swiftly as anyone will. I don't think they're moving as swiftly as they would like to. But they are making gains. They are making progress. Rather than fighting them and just completely dismantling something that is a force for good, regardless of whether you agree with their messages, why not legislate the change that you want to see to allow them to be better versus just throwing the baby out with the bathwater and putting them and saying, okay, let's go to this other entity that again, I have to go back to that sustain, because right now would iZone even be able to handle taking over all the schools that are
it would not. Well,
based on their model, would they have the principals in the top schools to be able to take those? And what happens when you start having your second and third tier principals now at these top schools? Are they going to be able to maintain the level of excellence that these kids are used to?
Man, you asked the best questions, man. I promise you, I could not have drafted that question better for the answer that I have. Right.
Because you have a response.
Right. So the way the legislation, and first of all, let me go back to what you said the first time. So sometimes, Ken and Kingmaker, in politics, in politics, you have to go extreme in order to get what you want back here come back a little bit.
Okay.
You follow me?
No.
So I'm going to push the kill bill.
Okay.
But I would hope that the ASD would put accountability measures in place by themselves. But there's also legislation that asks for accountability. So there's more. In fact, there's multiple pieces of legislation out there against the ASD right now. And I want you to just think about what I just said.
Okay.
I'm not the driver for all of this legislation. There are multiple pieces of legislation that have been filed against the Achievement School District. Why is that? Why are so many legislators wanting to tweak or adjust the Achievement School District?
Are the majority of them out of Shelby?
No, because Bill Dunn and Steve Dickerson have legislation that would say 3-year moratorium. Move 50% of your schools off the priority list before you take on another school. They're not out of Shelby County. Those are Republicans.
Okay.
So it's not just all of me and other Democrats that are. My Senate sponsor for the kill bill is a Republican. Yeah, Senator Nicely out of East Tennessee. So it's not just me. You see what I'm saying? Now, if the ASD would do this on their own accord, we wouldn't even have legislation.
Well, we're going to be following that and following you. But before you get out of here, because I think we've like 3 minutes left, What's your position on the bill regarding vouchers?
So interesting position. Number one, the vouchers are directed at ASD schools in the bottom 5%. So I could almost support that. Like, if it's gonna, I could if I was, really dastardly, And here's the other thing: there are no schools in the cluster area of where the ASD schools are that could even take a voucher. So there's one school in the Fraser area that could take a voucher. That's Our Lady of Sorrows, and they only got so much capacity, right? So now, if again, we went back to going back to this earlier. We said it's not really school choice if you don't have the resources to move your children, right? So if parents don't have transportation to move these kids into schools that will accept the vouchers, and guess what? All of, especially your best private schools, are not about to take these vouchers, because there's an issue of performance with them. And there's an issue of affordability with them also. $6,500 in a voucher is not going to pay for a Briarcrest or a Hutchinson.
St. Mary's.
Right, you see what I'm saying? And it's not in that area. And then why would they tamper with their performance for these little black kids over here in Fraser? Not saying, I'm not quoting them as saying that. Now, but here's a solution. If the voucher legislation said, we're going to allow Category 4 schools in, which will be your religious schools, that your biggest churches in those areas can open up and operate from day one. Your Breath of Life Christian Centers, your Promised Lands, your Pursuit of Gods, your Greater Imanis, they can operate schools and get vouchers from day one. And those schools will be close to their home. Those children will be close to their home. You still keep the parental involvement. The transportation issue may not be a big issue that way. The schools may be able to go pick the kids up. You see what I'm saying? There's a way, but right now I can't support vouchers.
Okay. Right, and I get that completely. I'm not necessarily 100% sold on vouchers either, but I will say that I do think that it's very dangerous to say I will not support vouchers because that parent may not be able to get their child across the city. I think that's another issue where you should probably... I
didn't say I wouldn't support it for that reason.
But you did use that as an example.
Right. Well, I was using that as the hardship of voucher legislation being passed. If voucher legislation is passed, I just don't see many people being able to use it properly, according to the way that.
So who do you think will use it?
I don't think anybody will use it for the most part. I think there will be some, those that, there are some in schools in that area that may be able to transport their kids to other areas. But, I think there's a need for Category 4 schools to be able to take vouchers from day one, with maybe the caveat that you become a Category 1 or 2 school, within a certain amount of years, and be able to accept. I think it's important that parental involvement is extremely important to the success of a child. But and if you're taking kids and moving them to other parts of town because there's a void of schools that would be able to take vouchers in the areas that they're coming from, then you got an issue with parental involvement, you got an issue with transportation, and you have an economic development issue with money leaving that community that's really a high-risk community because of poverty. So just something to think about. I'm let that marinate on dialogue.
I appreciate Representative Parkinson for coming on Dialogue with Deidre. Anytime, come on back.
Hey, let's do it.
Okay.
The Kingmaker.
Ken Taylor, thank you so much for. And you know what? I think after Representative Parkinson, we take a quick break, then we're going to come back and talk for 15 more minutes. We can do that online. We can do that.
She can do that. See that, man? See that juice?
You're watching Dialogue with Deidre. We'll be back in a moment.
And I'm going to end the cast, and so everybody want to say thank you.
The Taylor Brown Apothecary is your community drugstore. Their licensed professional pharmacists provide excellent service while filling your wellness needs. They have $4 generic plans, and they accept all major insurance providers. And they even offer free delivery for senior citizens. At Taylor Brown, they pride themselves on the personal care and attention they give every customer. Ask about their uninsured discount pharmacy program. The Taylor Brown Apothecary is your community drugstore. They're located 3333 Shelby Drive. Give them a call today at 901-794-3690 or visit them online, TaylorBrownGroup.com. The Taylor Brown Apothecary is your community drugstore.
I like to ride my bike to get some exercise, just kind of clear my head.
I like to ride because it's really fun for me and my fiance to go ride together.
I started riding my bike as a way to save money on gas.
I like to ride my bike mostly because it's fun and it's good exercise.
That's how I get everywhere. It's how I go to grocery stores, it's go to work, it's how I go to my friend's house.
Sometimes I just like to not even have a particular destination in mind, just to see different parts of the city.
Just going through the park, you see people, and if you're on your bike, you can smile or say hello.
I own 5 bikes. The green Schwinn is my grandfather's bike, and every time I ride it, and he can be with me where I go.
I'm not burning gas, I'm not polluting the air. And in a way, it kind of gets me back to the kid in me, which is kind of cool.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Together now, we can make it better now. Come on, can we do it? Yeah, you know that we can. We'll rope it up, cause we know how to jump. We'll roll it out, cause we know how to skate. We'll cut it down, cause we know what to eat. We'll swap it out, we eat healthy stuff. Can we do it? Yeah, you know that we can. Can we do it?
Just moving a little and eating better every day can help make you and your child healthier. Search We Can to find doable tips and activities that you can use every day.
The Carter Malone Group is a full-service public relations agency. Celebrating 10 years of being in business, the Carter Malone Group is located in Midtown Memphis and represents clients across the country. No matter what size your business, if you are interested in promoting your product or service and increasing your market share, contact the firm that can help you meet your goals. The Carter Malone Group. Call 901-278-0881 today.
Welcome back to Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. I hope you've been enjoying the show so far. We've had a good discussion with State Representative Antonio Parkinson and Ken Taylor, the Kingmaker. We're going to spend the next 15 minutes or so talking to the Kingmaker, Ken Taylor. But before we continue our dialogue, I just want to remind people, it's about to be Black History Month. We should be supporting African American businesses, though, throughout the year. professional services, products. If you know of any African American business in your community, make sure that you go out and support them. As a part of the M1 TV network, we have a Black Wall Street directory of African American businesses that if you are interested in, you can go to the website, and if I'm not mistaken, Eddie, they can download it. Is that correct? Yes. You can download it. We'll be adding to it, and if you want to advertise in that directory or even advertise on the M1 network, give us a call at 901-278-0881, and we'll be happy to help you with that. Kingmaker, welcome to Dialogue with Deidre.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Let me just say that I've had an opportunity to work with this young man, very sharp. We worked a campaign together and just full of great ideas. And you know, sometimes people have great ideas, but they don't know how to execute. He knows how to execute. So just a pleasure getting to know you, and I just call him, he's like one of my sons.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about Kingmaker.
Well, so Kingmaker, it's really awesome. We call it an empowerment firm. I think one of the things that, obviously my background has been in politics, but one of the things that's really been frustrating me about politics is how so many times you go through the campaign and it stops, and then you go through it, even if it's an advocacy campaign, and you have these people, you elect these people into office, or you get these campaigns passed, and it's just like, you know, you can only hope for the best, that they'll be able to empower the communities and really, you know, have some positive impact and change. And so what we strive to do with Kingmaker is we strive to have, we call it strategies for life.
Okay.
So we do small businesses, even individuals, where they can come in, and we serve to give them strategies for whatever it is that they want to do. We're not into life coaching or that type of thing, which is a big craze that's going on right now, but we tell people that we want to connect them with the resources that are necessary for them to execute the strategy that is necessary for them to win. And so the thing that we like to say around the office all the time is it's time for you to win.
Time for you to win. So how's it going?
It's going really well. We're just launching, have the opportunity to reach out to some of our most amazing mentors and really had some great ideas. The concept to actually launch Kingmaker really just came very recently. It came from a lot of people in the community just saying, you know, hey, Ken, go ahead and do it, and was considering working for some other people at, you know, at the time. And, you know, all things happen for a reason. And just very excited to be able to serve my home, Memphis, in this capacity. And so we're really excited about it.
Okay, so now if someone's interested in reaching out to you, how do they contact you?
So we're getting ready to launch the website.
Yay!
Launches next week. Yep, we'll be on Facebook and Twitter. You can reach us now at 901-444-2324. And again, on Facebook. We will be facebook.com/WeMakeKings. On Twitter, we Tweet Kings. And so it's going to be a really great opportunity, and we're excited to be able to serve the community by electing champions for the community into office and putting together those strategy, and also empowering the community itself, which is something that you don't really see with a lot of political strategy firms. And so our goal is to be able to get the person elected into office and for them to pass policies that will be able to empower the people in the community, and then bring the community together to be able to rise. One of the things that I love to say all the time is that you can't empower a community without empowering its people.
Right.
And so we definitely seek to empower people, and we've got some awesome programs that are coming up that we're really excited about. We're doing a training on February 27th for people who are interested in running for office.
Wonderful.
Yep, you can go to train2win.wemakekings.com, and you can register for that. We'll be starting a program in March called Get Legit Tuesdays. And so what it is for people in the community who have awesome gifts, awesome abilities, but they may just not necessarily know how to get a business license or how to apply for a small business loan. And so be able to come together, get legit, get all that information together so that they can actually be get their business license and be legit.
Let me just say, those types of programs are so good. One thing that our firm started probably 4 years ago was a program called Controlling How Your Cookie Crumbles. And your cookie is your money. And it was targeting new entrepreneurs, basically the same thing, Ken, in terms of making sure that you go through the process of being legal, get your business license, you know, your Dun and Bradstreet number, make sure that you file your taxes, get all of the, you know, appropriate paperwork. file with the Secretary of State, you know? And so I think that's incredible that you're doing it.
Thank you. It's definitely a really exciting process for us, and we're definitely reaching out to people in the community, people who have that same passion for community and community empowerment. We definitely want you to reach out to us. We know that we can't do it alone, and we're going to need your help, so please reach out to us, and we're looking for all the help that we can have as we seek to, you know, ignite, inspire, and infuse Memphis.
Let me just say, so glad. I mean, you're young and you have enthusiasm and excited about helping even new potential candidates. I can tell you, having been in the game a while, that I don't know how I feel about it these days. I mean, some people who want to get into public office, in my opinion, are not doing it for the right reason.
Absolutely.
And so are you at a point where you are weeding out, you feel comfortable weeding out those individuals? I know I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to ever work with a candidate that I don't believe that they're genuine about our community, that they're genuine about doing those things that they say that they want to do. Because we don't need those type of elected officials anymore.
Right. You know, one of the things that my dad taught me when I was young, that I still carry with me today, he used to always tell me, son, the condition of your heart will determine the conditions of your life.
Wonderful
and
advice.
If I've learned anything with working with candidates, is that the condition of their hearts will determine the condition of the policy that they actually, you know, push forward. And so we're definitely at a place with Kingmaker to where we're in the exact same place. We're only working with people we want to work with. We're only working with people who are champions for communities, not people who are champion for themselves, right? And so we're very excited about that. We are in a position to where, you know, we don't have to work with everybody. You know, some people may come to us and we may work with them if they're a champion for them, if they meet those ideals. If not, there's some other amazing strategies, strategists in Memphis that can definitely create a path to victory for them and get them over the finish line, unless they come against us.
Right, exactly.
But you know, we're definitely at a place to where our number one mission is to empower the community. And so if you are coming to us and we ask you those questions and you do not have a platform that is consistent with that, then we don't have a strategy for you.
Once, when I was elected years ago, I would tell my constituents that what's important to me is you realize that I work for you. That the only reason I'm there is because you put me there to work for you. So I am your voice on that legislative body, and if I am not speaking what you want me to speak, the language through my vote, then you know what you need to do. And I'm very, very passionate about that, that elected officials are there for their constituents.
Absolutely.
You know?
And I think that's one of the biggest things that our society faces now. Is one of the things that we say all the time is that we want to build a reflective democracy.
Right.
And that's a democracy that truly and accurately depicts the constituency that they seek to advocate for. And one of the ways that you can do that, or you have to do that, is by simply, you know, encouraging women to run for office, encouraging people from the community to actually go and represent not just that community, but to represent themselves. So when the bill comes up that they're going to be voting on, they're voting from a lens that actually has been in that community, and the hurts and the pains and even the triumphs of that community. That they're looking at that legislation from that lens versus what's going to be best for them for upcoming re-election or the next office that they may have in mind.
Well, I just want you to know that I'm so thrilled to have Ken on the show. He's welcome to come back anytime, and he was my co-host today because he really took it to Representative Parkinson. He asked the tough questions, and that's what we want right here on Dialogue with Deidre. So, Ken, come back anytime.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just have to say thank you so much for everything that you have poured into me. I tell people all the time, you didn't adopt me, I adopted you. And so I'm just really, really honored to be in this space with you. And thank you so much for what you give to the community and what you're going to continue to give. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you so much. Okay, you've been watching Dialogue with Deidre. Thank you so much for being a viewer. We want to hear from you. Let us know what you thought about today's show on our Facebook page. You know, the Dialogue with Deidre Facebook page. And we will see you again on Wednesday. Have a good day.